Hey everybody, I was working on the 3-drawer dresser with the honeycomb pattern drawer fronts, and I was about to install the panels onto the drawers themselves. So I thought I'd take you along with me to show you how I'm installing them, because I've got to get, the big issue is I've got to get this gap just right between the panels. So let's take a look. The first panel right here on the bottom was pretty easy to install because it's just that flush with the bottom of the cabinet. That's the way it was designed. So there was no measurement that needed to be done. Then I loosely installed the drawer pulls. And then I like to use playing cards as shims. So I'm using, I think this was 5 cards. And I shimmed it up just like that, so it's sitting on there. Since this is the middle focal balance point, I wanted to make sure that these two sides were the same. And also a trick, while I didn't want this to fall because this is I didn't want to break it, I was using a 48-inch clamp just to kind of hold it up there for now, like that. Then I was getting pretty particular, and I was using my micrometer, and I was taking the gap measurements on both sides and got that even. So once that was even, this is the trick that usually on the drawer fronts, I usually put super glue on the back and then spray accelerant on the drawer and then just kind of smush them together. But you can't really do that because I got it in place. I don't want it to move or anything like that. So bam, this is what I decided to use. This is a pen nailer, 23 gauge pen nailer. You shoot it in here, it is so small you can't even really see. And if I didn't tell you where I shot it, you really couldn't find it unless you spent a good amount of time. So this pen nailer, I shot 2 pins in here. It's going to disappear, especially since we're painting this. It's definitely going to disappear. But that holds the 2 together, so then you can take everything apart. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So once I got it on there, I undid everything. And here, I'm going to move you to this side so you can see. So now it's not on here perfect. See, it's a little loose. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our smaller 6-inch clamps and put them in to squeeze the panel to the drawer. One thing to be careful about is to make sure it's far enough in so it doesn't hit your guide. And what I mean by guide is I wanted all the I'm going to put 2 screws between the drawer and into the panel, but I wanted them to all look uniform. I know no one's going to look, but I wanted them to be the same. So what I did was I wanted it to be 6 inches from the side, and I wanted it to be 3 inches, which is 3 inches is halfway in between. So what I did is just made a simple little guide. This was about 7 inches, and I found a scrap that happened to be 3 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch wide. So I made my mark. There's my drill guide. I don't know if you can see it. Just a little drill guide. And so it's 6 inches from here to here. It's 6 inches, and from up top down to my hole is 3 inches. Then I took a piece on top of here. You don't want this distance to be any wider than the cabinet, the drawer. This drawer is a 1/2 inch, so I made it just a little bit shorter, 1/2 inch on each side. And the reason why it has to be less than 1/2 inch on each side is because when you put it down here, you butt it up here, and it's going to be perfectly place it. But when you get to the other side, you're going to have to flip it over, and that's why you're going to need it exactly 1/2 inch on this side too. That way they're going to mirror each other. So we're going to flip this back over like this, and we're going to get to drilling. What I want to do is to make the screw hole into the cabinet the same diameter as the actual screw, but I don't want where the screw is going into the panel. I want it to be smaller so that it gets a good bite, because I want it to be loose on the drawer and tight on the drawer panel so that it actually draws in the drawer panel, makes it tight. So once I know this is flat on top here and then touching the side, I go ahead and put my first drill, and then I also marked it with some tape. This is my depth gauge. I mean, you can buy fancy depth gauges, but I like to use tape because I can always know where it's at. But you just want to set it to how deep you want to go. You don't want to go any deeper than so it pokes through the front. Alright, so I got you situated a little better. So we got the smaller drill bit. And it's going to go in the template like that. So we're going to drill all the way to the tape. And then that's as far as we want to go. Then we're also going to take this and flip it to the other side. Let's see if we can get you set up there. Perfect. Alright. So that's the initial drill. So now this is the bigger drill bit. And what that's going to do is make the screw loose inside the drawer so that the screw isn't binding on the drawer, but it's actually going to pull on the panel. So make sure this isn't going to be the same distance as the other measurement, because you only want to go the depth of the drawer, which is 1/2 inch. So so we're going to make that to widen the first hole here. Tape moved on me a little bit. So let's get here. Perfect. And then we just go to the other side. Screws I like to use are the cabinet screws. You can see if it will focus. There you go. These are number 8 cabinet screws, and the reason I like them is because it has a built-in washer on the head. So I like to use that because it draws it in. But the problem is this is a 1 inch, and it's supposed to be 1 inch, but the Baltic birch is just shy of 1/2 inch, so it's not really a full true 1/2 inch. So I don't want it to poke through. So to fix that is what we're going to do is we're going to hammer down the point of the screw. And by doing that, it accomplishes, because we are just shy of being too long, that will take the screw point so it doesn't poke through. So let's go ahead and install the screws. Perfect. It doesn't even go through. Let me get the other screw. Now we just take off our clamps. And these are the Balm tandem drawer slides, and you see I have the Balm motion, which is the soft close motion on there. And this is the bottom drawer. See, this isn't connected. Put that in there. Perfect. Now if we can open this. Terrific. And that's how you do it. And that's how you get your spacing. Really, the reason we're doing all this is because of the spacing needed to be just right. And we're going to do the same thing for the top. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. I didn't want to leave you with the unfinished product, so I wanted to show you kind of what it looked like with everything put in, installed. I haven't screwed in the drawer pulls, but I wanted to kind of show you, get a concept of what it's going to look like at the final product, but we still need to paint. But I did want to show you another trick to figure out, without having to do a lot of complicated math, of how to center this drawer pull to your drawer. So what we're going to do is, these are all set, so we're going to do the last one here. And you don't need, all you need to do is take whatever you're measuring, slide it all the way to the end of whatever you want, the distance you want to go. Then you measure what's left. I've got 24 1/4 inches from here to here. So all you have to do is take that in half. That's 12 inches and 1/8. And then that's what you need to slide your the end of your handle to, 12 and 1/8. And then that's it. That's perfectly centered to whatever you want it to go to. And there you have it. Final product of the honeycomb 3-drawer front. Just needs to go take it all apart and go into paint.